Ki Jai. Transcendental Krishna Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Welcome to our daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. Just pulling up a couple things here. Give me just a moment. In the meantime, we can chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram. Krishna Krishna Ram Ram. Okay. So before we get started, speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam, we sing a wonderful song, Jairada Madhava. Today we're going through Canto 10, Chapter 12. We'll read verses 37 through 45. Oh, Chapter 11. Yes, 10, 11, 37 through 45. And we'll focus on verse 45. I know it says 43, but you'll see. Focus on 45. It's no problem. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Kalashanji Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shamasunda Radha Shamasunda Shri Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyantimarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. We'll sing the invocation verses for Srimad Bhagavatam together. Please. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devyam sarasvatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. And the translation, please. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and to Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasha breshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance on the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in his heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Vanchikalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavati Pasyatade Satarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, we'll start on 10, 11, 37, I believe I said, right? 37? Yes. We'll do translation purport. We'll go through the whole entire translations in purport. Krishna and Balaram have just gone to Vrindavan.
In this way, Krishna and Balaram, acting like small boys and talking in half-broken language, gave transcendental pleasure to all the inhabitants of Vraja. In due course of time, they became old enough to take care of the calves.
They're old enough. They can be put to work, right? Are you old enough to be put to work yet? Yes? You do chores? Yeah, there you go. Purport. by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, as soon as Krishna and Balaram were a little grown up, they were meant for taking care of the calves. Although born of very well-to-do families, they still had to take care of the calves. This was the system of education. Those who were not born in Brahmin families were not meant for academic education. The Brahmanas were trained in a literary academic education. The Kshatriyas were trained to take care of the state, and the Vaishyas learned how to cultivate the land and take care of the cows and calves. There was no need to waste time going to school to be falsely educated and later increase the numbers of the unemployed. Krishna and Balaram taught us by their personal behavior. Krishna took care of the cows and played his flute, and Balaram took care of agriculture activities with a plow in hand. Said that Nanda Maharaj had many learned fools to do all of his work. So, are we one of Krishna's many learned fools doing the work? Maybe engineers? Maybe some kind of academic education and we can do some service? Interesting to think about, right? Nanda Maharaj and his learned, educated fools to take care of Vrindavan. We all got our part to play, right? Okay, translation. Go ahead. Is it batteries out? Okay. Translation. What we got? 38 here. Not far away from their residential quarters, both Krishna and Balaram, equipped with all kinds of playthings, played with other cowherd boys and began to tend the small calves. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would play on their flutes. Sometimes they would throw ropes and stones devised for getting fruits from the trees. Sometimes they would throw only stones, and sometimes their ankle bells tinkling. They would play football with fruits like bel and amalaki. Sometimes they would cover themselves with blankets and imitate cows and bulls and fight with one another, roaring loudly, and sometimes they would imitate the voices of animals. In this way, they enjoyed sporting exactly two ordinary human children. Purport. Vrindavan is full of peacocks. Kujat, Kokila, Hamsa, Sharasa, Ganakarene, Mayurakule. The Vrindavan forest is always full of cuckoos, ducks, swans, peacocks, cranes, and also monkeys, bulls, and cows. So Krishna and Balaram used to imitate the sounds of these animals and enjoying sporting. You can imagine Krishna and Balaram with their cows. I think about this scene, I think of that one painting of Gopal, I believe it is, right? And Krishna's sitting there with the deer, with his cow, and he's got his flute sitting there. Krishna has all his different friends. 41, please, go ahead. Still, I think we're close. Oh, yes.
One day while Rama and Krishna along with their playmates were tending the calves on the bank of river Yamuna, another demon arrived there desiring to kill them.
Another demon.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead saw that the demon had assumed the form of a calf and entered among the group of another calves, he pointed out to Baladeva, "Here is another demon." Then he very slowly approached the demon as if he did not understand the demon's intentions.
My gosh. How in the garb of a cow they even come. let me dress up as one of Krishna's loved ones. There was one club of cows and try to cause some issues. Purport. The import of the words mugdya iva is that although Krishna knows everything, here he pretended that he did not understand why the demon had entered among the cows, and he informed Baladeva by a sign. So you think of an actor, right? An actor knows the play. They know what's going on. They know the script, right? But to immerse themselves in the play, they purposely push away from them what happened in the past and what is going to happen. And they get so immersed in the moment that they can show these great feelings, right? These great emotions, right? So this is, I remember I heard from Hanumat Prashak Swami, he's got a degree in engineering, a degree in psychology. And he said that out of all of his schools, there was one thing that was most applicable to Krishna consciousness. Do you think it was psychology? It seemed kind of like interesting, right? There's a lot of psychology kind of used as in sometimes in Krishna consciousness. No, he said improv theater. Right? It brings up the thought of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a magistrate, he was a judge. Within the first few minutes, he would write something down and put it off to the side. His bailiff asked him one time, what is it? What are you doing? What are you writing down? He says, I write down my judgment. Hey, wait a minute. You write your judgment in the first 5 minutes and you set it off the side, and we'll spend hours sometimes going through the case and listening to this person. He said, yes. He said, I know, but they need to go through the process. If they don't go through the process, then they won't take my judgment serious. So although I can see what's going to happen, a Brahmin is very intelligent. Lord Brahma himself can see so much of what's going to happen through his intelligence. It's important that we immerse ourselves in the moment and not try to become some kind of narrator or try to implement ourselves into the story where we're directing it one way or the other by force. We should try to understand Krishna's plan and go along with it, and he might inspire us in some way to make some changes, make some adjustments. But we should always have the mood that we are the player. We're the actor in this play, and that Krishna is the director. And I'm willing to switch it up anytime that Krishna asks me, even if I know the outcome. How many times are we wrong, too? I think we know. Go ahead, next translation.
Thereafter, Sari Krishna caught the demon by the hind legs and tail, tore the demon's whole body as strongly until the demon was dead, and threw him up the top of a kapita tree and fell down along with the body of the demon who has assumed great form.
Purport. Krishna killed the demon in such a way as to get the kapita fruits to fall so that he and Balaram and the other boys could take advantage of the opportunity to eat them. The kapita is sometimes called shat bela phala. The pulp of the fruit is very palatable. It is sweet and sour, and everyone likes it. So this is one of the great opulences of Krishna. What is that opulence? That Krishna will do one thing, and so many benefits will come from it. So he kills the demon, and what do the cowherd boys, Krishna and Balaram, get? Oh, they get some nice fruits to eat. So many stories of Krishna where he does, there's so many different perspectives of the story going on. You see it from one side, and you see one side. And this is what makes Krishna's pastimes unlimited, is there's so many different perspectives that we can see through his pastimes. Srila Prabhupada asks us to study his books. And he says, please, when you study my books, look at them from different angles of vision. You study this book, Bhagavad Gita, once, you read it, are you done? No, you read it again. You can try to look at. Let's try to understand it a little bit from Bhaktisiddhanta's point of view. Whoa, can you imagine reading Bhagavad Gita and trying to do a little bit of the perspective of Bhaktisiddhanta? Oh, we see Srila Prabhupada's point of view in his purports. Maybe we see these different point of views of how Krishna's speaking Bhagavad Gita and doing his pastimes. We get so much from him. 44.
Upon seeing the dead body of the demon, all the cowherd boys exclaimed, "Well done, well done. No, well done, Krishna, very good, very good. Thank you." In the upper planetary systems, all the demigods were pleased, and therefore they showered flowers on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
This is a great lesson to us. When there's victory, we should celebrate. We should celebrate with Krishna that our kids have passed a great test, or they got into a great college or something. We should celebrate. We should celebrate with Krishna and Balaram there, or Gornitai or Didi's at home. 45. Let's focus on 45. We'll do the Sanskrit, please. Tovatsa palako bhutva. Tovatsa palako bhutva. Sarva lokeka palako. Sarva lokeka palako. Sapratar asho govatsyams. Sapratar asho govatsyams. Charayanto vicharatu. Charayanto vicharatu. Tovatsa palako bhutva. Sarvaloka palalako. Sapratar ashu govatsyams. Charuyanto vichairatu. Bolo. Tovatsa palako bhutva. Sarvaloke palalakao. Tapratara shugovatyams. Charayanto vicheratu. And we'll go right into the translation and purport. Translation. After the killing of the demon, Krishna and Balaram finished their breakfast in the morning. And while continuing to take care of the calves, they wandered here and there. Krishna and Balaram and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who maintained the entire creation, now took charge of the calves as if cowherd boys. Please repeat. After the killing of the demon, Krishna and Balaram finished their breakfast in the morning, and while continuing to take care of the calves, they wandered here and there. Krishna and Balaram the supreme personalities of Godhead, who maintained the entire creation, now took charge of the castes as if they were cowherd boys. Purport. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaha cha duskritam. Krishna's daily business here in this material world was to kill the duskritis. This did not hamper his daily affairs, for it was routine work. While he tended the calves on the bank of the river Yamuna, 2 or 3 incidences took place every day, and all these were serious. Killing the demons one after another appeared to be his daily routine work. Wow. So we're continuing Krishna's pastimes. We just heard about how the village of Nanda Maharaj just moved because there were so many demons coming. I said, oh, this will be safer over here, right? But we hear that although using their intelligence appropriately, very nicely, for the purpose of protecting the village and serving Vishnu, right? They decided to move the village. But can they get away from the demons? No, right? Krishna's business here in the material world is to take care of demons. So a question I've heard proposed is there demons in ISKCON? Whoa. Is there demons in ISKCON? This material, yeah, what do you think? Yeah, yeah. right? Yeah. Yes, this is a great point, that although Krishna in his pastimes, he was externally taking care of these demons, right? Now in this age, the demon is inside of us all. And we're dealing with it. Dealing in some way or shape or form, right? Trying to get some intelligence, trying to clean up our attitude. And as we perform our service, we see these things pop up. Have you ever been chanting Hare Krishna or reading one of Srila Prabhupada's book, and from left field some thought comes in that's just like, what the heck is that? You know, where does that thought come from? I mean, that's horrible, you know? You wonder, was that even me? You know, what's going on there? So we have this experience that before we start going on a demon hunt on who the demons are in ISKCON, we better look at ourselves first, right? Better look at our own demons, right? But something wonderful happens in this time that we're here. This fight that we have all within ourselves is that we have the wonderful boom that we're in the line of disciplic succession from Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya came and he gave us this process of the Sankirtan movement. And he's the most what's the word I'm looking for? It's so easy. Most merciful incarnation of Krishna, right? But even when we look at Lord Chaitanya's life, we can get a little bit, oh my gosh, wait a minute. There's a story of Junior Haridas, right? And the whole point is that of that story is that Lord Chaitanya doesn't like hypocrisy. So we get on the Vyasa-san and we say, have faith in the holy name of the Lord. Everybody. And then we go and we chant our japa and we're thinking about devising some scheme about how we're going to take care of this. This experience that I have, you know. I wonder, am I a hypocrite? Do I sit on the Vyasa-san encouraging everybody to have faith in Krishna, be dependent on him, and then I have to go through my life going, wait a minute, am I doing that? But we have a boon bigger than Lord Chaitanya. Can you imagine it? There's a story of Nityananda Prabhu who invites Lord Chaitanya to come to a sannyasi's house. What? A sannyasi's house? Yeah. Says, I met this person. Come, Lord Chaitanya, we're gonna go have dinner. We're gonna have prasadam over at sannyasi's house. Okay. Sit down, and the sannyasi's there serving them nicely. He asks, oh, is there anything in particular that I can get you? Oh, we're okay. Okay. Anything that you want. Because my wife, she's a very good cook. She can make anything that you want. Well, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu look at each other. Wait a minute. A sannyasi? He's got a wife? Like, wait a minute. What are we doing here? Lord Chaitanya is starting to wonder about what Lord Nityananda is getting him into. So then the sannyasi says, after they've eaten, he says, Are you happy? Yeah, we're good. But are you ready for the nectar? What? They look at each other again. Nectar. Okay, sure. Brings out his wife. Please bring the wine. Sits the wine down. At that time, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda look at each other and they run out. They run. They're running to the Ganges to go take a bath, right? And the whole time they're running, Lord Nityananda Prabhu is just laughing. And Lord Chaitanya is like looking at him going, what are you doing? What are you putting him into? This is the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Quite often in this age, we're like this sannyasi. We're, as growing up in America, I grew up in such a culture that I have no couth, no culture of good culture, So then you go to places and who knows how many mistakes you're making in a sense, But Lord Nityananda, he's so kind. He's like, it's okay. I understand. You're a cultural buffoon. You're like a monkey. But come meet Lord Chaitanya, And then we even have a bigger boon than Lord Nityananda. Who's that? Srila Prabhupada. We have Srila Prabhupada who came to the West and knew about our cultural buffoonery and was willing to tolerate it so much, right? I mean, a sannyasi marrying people and going through so many things, to get this movement started. And so, in this mood of dealing with our anartas, our demons, I thought I'd talk about two different situations that we come up in our devotional life. And one is directly from the Bhagavad Gita in the sense that Arjuna is, out of compassion, not wanting to fight this fight. And he throws down his bow, and he's deciding, should I go to the forest or should I fight? And he surrenders to Krishna. And Krishna says, you must work, you must do your duty, Arjun. You're a warrior, you must fight this, but do it for me. So here's one thing that we can come up with as devotees. Are we going to fight or not? Are we going to do our nature? Because quite often when we start getting a taste of our nature, we get put into a position where we start to see, wait a minute, am I doing this for Krishna? Or am I doing it for my egotistical self? And that can be scary. So scary that we don't even want to do that fight. We can say, you know what? Instead of doing that service, I can see that it blows up my ego. I'm just going to go to the forest. I'm not even going to take that risk. But that takes us away from such an opportunity to grow in our devotional life. See, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has already shown Arjuna, I've done it. I've already killed everyone. I just need you to decide if you're going to be my tool. So similarly, when we step onto the battlefield, yes, we're going to have to be Krishna's tool, and we're going to have to go through things. We're going to have to do things that we don't necessarily want to go through. However, we have Krishna who's taking care of us. And like in this purport that we hear in 43, Krishna is doing it in such a way that he's killing our demons and he's bringing us closer. So we have to take on this fight. If we don't take it on now, we can go to the forest, but eventually you're going to have to fight the fight. You're going to have to take your nature. You're going to have to do your dharma. You're going to have to do your duty, and you're going to have to go fight that fight. And the idea is that we have this holy names, sadhu sangha, association, that's going to help us through the process. And it's tough. It's not easy. Now there's the other devotee, though. They start to get an understanding of their dharma. They get starting their duty, and they get put into it. And they know the fight, but now they have to start working. In a sense, you've got to start doing the deep work. You got to start discerning about those times that you're doing it out of false ego. When you're taking shelter of your intelligence, when you're taking shelter of your mind, your ability to be a psychologist or to strategize. And you got to say, am I doing that for my purpose of that I am the doer? Or are we chanting Hare Krishna where Krishna is giving us the intelligence and how to use it? And it's tough. It isn't easy to discern this, because we can get what's it called when you do something good and you get a benefit from it? It's called enforcing. We get these enforcers. They say, "Oh, you chanted such a nice kirtan." Oh, I did. But wait a minute. Was I taking shelter of my kartal playing? Was I taking shelter of my mridanga playing? Or was I taking shelter of the holy name? You'll notice if you chant kirtan, there'll be a point where you're quite often where you have that decision to make. Am I going to take shelter of using my intelligence to try to speed up the kirtan or play some nice kartals or maybe up my enthusiastic, charismatic attitude so that we can get the devotees in it? Or am I going to take shelter that the holy names will purify and it will make the kirtan, that Krishna will do his work? And it's not so easy. By the way, I'm using kirtan, but that's a process that we all go through when we start to do our duty. So, in the purport here, Srila Prabhupada says that in the first and 37, we have our nature. And each person goes to school. Each person should understand their nature. And Srila Prabhupada introduces us to Yukta Vairagya, right? So we must do the duty. We must go through this fight. We must go through this war. We must go through this purification. But we need to do it with the proper attitude. We need to do it in the proper association. So I've got just three more minutes. So one thing I thought that we could take out of this is a very practical way about how do we work through this process. One, getting to our duty, doing it for Krishna. And then once we find our duty, making sure that we're really doing it for Krishna and we're not inflating our ego. Would you mind going to Nectar of Instruction, verse 5? Please. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's go first to the translation. Will somebody read the translation if you have the...
One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others.
Wow. Just previously, in 4, Srila Prabhupada has given us the 6 loving exchanges. To give gifts, to receive gifts, to reveal your mind in confidence, to hear from the devotees in confidence, and to feed the devotees prasadam, and then take from the devotees prasadam. And then in 5, Srila Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami are teaching us about who we do these with, right? So let's go to not the first paragraph, but the second paragraph. Of the purport, yes, please. Right there. One should not remain a Kanishta Adhikari, one who is situated in the lowest platform of devotional service and is interested only in worshiping the deity in the temple. Wow. Such a devotee is described in the 11th canto in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.247. I'm just going to go right to the translation. A person who is very faithful in engaging in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave towards devotees or people in general is called a Prarakta Bhakta or a Kanishta Adhikari. Wow. You're telling me you can be on the altar and still be in Kanishta? You're telling me you can go to the temple and chant Hare Krishna and be in front of the deities chanting Krishna and you still be in Kanishta? Whoa, let's see what Srila Prabhupada says in the next paragraph. One therefore has to raise himself from the position of a Kanishta Adhikari to the platform of a Madhyam Adhikari. The Madhyam Adhikari is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.246 in this way. The Madhyam Adhikari is a devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love, makes friends with the Lord's devotees, and is merciful to the ignorant and avoids those who are envious by nature. So while we're going through this process, this is a very practical way about how we can discern about our devotional service. It's said that when you argue with a fool, now there's 2 fools arguing. So when we do this devotional service, when we're acting, while we're working in our devotional service, whether it's kirtan or giving it, Srimad Bhagavatam class or up on the altar or whatever we do in the Holy Dham, this is a great tool that we can use about how we're going about in our devotional service. Are we quarreling with devotees? It seems to me that that quarrel in this age of Kali is going to happen. Demons are going to arise, right? But how do we go through that process? How do we go? I have so many demons within inside of me. I'm going through this process, and every once in a while they get the best of me, and they show externally, and they sometimes go to a devotee, right? And I would like some grace. You know, I'm working so hard through my experiences and my attitude to try to calm that down, but every once in a while it flares up, and man, dang it, and I would like some grace from the devotees when that happens. So therefore, if I want some grace, then when that experience happens, I'm better make sure that I'm willing to give the grace to the devotees. And so Srila Rupa Goswami is giving us a very practical way of associating. Is that in this holy Dham, people have taken up the holy name of the Lord, and we should pay our respects in our mind, right? We should pay obeisances to that person who's worshiping the deity and taking Diksha, second initiation. That's not so much our culture in Dallas, at least, So we don't see so much of that happening, that we pay obeisances. And we have the Uttama Adhikari, where we always know that we're serving Srila Prabhupada within the temple. We're serving Srila Prabhupada within the ISKCON. We're serving the pure devotee, where we're taking association from him by reading his books and reading his purports. So I wanted to share this because one thing since coming back from India I've really worked on is seeing that this is a holy Dham here, and the devotees here are so special. And so every devotee I see, I try to pay my respects in my heart. And to those who are serving regularly the deity and taking a second initiation, I pay my dandavats in my heart. Because like I said, it's not so much our culture. And I'll tell you what, it changes my perspective of how I work with devotees. Right? When I see a devotee, I pay that respect in my heart. And even though I might come across devotees that are not in the same like-mindedness, and I don't necessarily agree with how they serve Krishna, because this is going to happen. Even in the spiritual world, the devotees are deciding in how to serve Krishna best, and they're, you got this side, and so it's going to happen. But at least you come through with the right attitude, that this is a devotee, they're doing the best they can to serve Krishna. I might not agree with it, but you know what? I can respect that they're a devotee of Krishna, and they're chanting Hare Krishna, and they're doing the best. And I'm doing my best, and I hope that I can serve them in some way, or respect them in some way that's best for our devotional service. And you'll notice that when you come across that person that you've had misaligned attitudes with before, if you pay your respects in one way, shape, or form, it is good to pay your respects physically. By the way, I don't want to take that away. But I'm saying at least a small step is paying, I see this devotee, Hare Krishna. And the way you deal with it will totally change. You'll be able to move when you need to move, or how should I say, avoid when necessary, and you'll see better the times that you can interact with them. So we spoke about Krishna wanting us to do our duty. We must do our duty. We can't run to the forest. But when we do our duty, we see, as in this material world, that demons, the demonic nature comes up, and we have to continue to fight. But the person who kills demons is only Krishna. Our job is to do our duty and have the right attitude, chant Hare Krishna, and let Krishna kill those demons. And we continue to do our duty in the right attitude, serving amongst devotees. And we're like rocks in a bag with pointy edges. And we keep on shaking it, and those edges dull, and we become polished. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I was hoping Mishra Bhagavan or Gokul Nanda, I know they have wonderful questions. I was just amazed at this last point you made. Just want to express my appreciation for it. About, appreciating, when you see a devotee, immediately offer your mental obeisances. That's such a beautiful point. Now, as just an extension of that, I was just thinking, like right now, there's devotees I'm thinking of in Vrindavan, and I'm having a quarrel with them. But even as soon as I think of them, I should offer obeisances. So that was just based on what you said. And it just reminded me of something of Mother Ladini in Vrindavan. If a devotee said something, negative, or she would just think, I guess he's just having a bad day. And I really appreciate that point, that we're all struggling with our demons, and every now and then, like you said, we have a flare-up. We have to be forgiving before we expect forgiveness.
Gives us a little taste of what your ever well-wisher is. Srila Prabhupada was so tolerant, right? How many things do we do? Let's not put it on other people. I mean, myself, every time, so often when I pay my obeisances, I realize, man, I just said the words. Dang it. I could have had an opportunity to pay my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and really mean it. but I just said the words, you know? And if you have that experience where you pay your obeisances and really mean it, it's a totally different experience. Am I really there? Am I really paying my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada? Or am I just throwing myself on the ground, I chant a few words, and then I get up and now it's my turn to do what I want to do? Yeah, but So my point was that Srila Prabhupada, your ever well-wisher, was your compassionate, was he shows that compassion to know when we're not even paying our obeisances properly, and he's still willing to forgive us, encouraging us, right? Keeps on encouraging us and keeps on encouraging us. It's amazing how many times we really should be kicked out of the temple. And yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. It was a wake-up call, kind of sort of a reminder for me, and I was feeling so ashamed of the complacency that has crept in within. And I was taken back to my initial days of ISKCON when it all started with Ahmedabad, and for the first time when I visited Mumbai, you won't believe the first thing that attracted me the most in Chowpatty temple was I saw everyone bowing down before each other. And one of the part of the training was whenever you see any Prabhupada disciples, you must immediately offer your obeisances. And you just reminded me that I've totally forgotten about those things. You see, and such a wonderful, wonderful point, takeaway point for me today. That, okay, as you mentioned, every place is different. Externally or physically we may not do so, but mentally at least we can say Hare Krishna and offer pranam. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's mentioned there that a devotee is completely free from the propensity to find faults in others. We have the example of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He was famous that criticism never ever left his lips. If there was discussion of the misbehavior of another devotee, he wouldn't partake in it. He would say that they're serving Krishna, that's all. That's all I need to know. So I mentioned this to one devotee, and he said, well, he could do that because he wasn't a manager, implying that if you're a manager, you have to find faults with others. But I noticed that there's managers that never find faults with other people. Radhanath Swami, I've never heard Radhanath Swami say a bad thing about anybody. And he manages, it seems like he's managing quite a big project there. He's got a school and the Chowpatty temple, and there's Govinda's garden, and then there's a whole hospital. And Jayapataka Swami is another person. He never ever says anything bad about anybody. You can go to his darshans every night. You can be with him all day. You can go to his classes, and you notice that he's completely free from the propensity to find faults with others. And he's managing, to start with, he's managing 70,000 disciples, the entire Mayapur project, quite a few other projects all over West Bengal. So how can people manage without finding faults in others?
So we must do our duty. And sometimes that puts us in a position where we have to correct people. So I would put more of the emphasis on the correction than the criticism. Often what happens is the urgency of the mind, we have to fix this, and therefore instead of being sober and be able to see how we interact or how we should serve Krishna best, we correct quickly. We don't even think about the situation. And so Srila Rupa Goswami in the beginning talks about how we have to become Goswamis. We can't let the urgency of the mind and the tongue of correcting people get to us. So when this urgency comes, we can take it as data. Oh, okay, I can see this happened. It's not that it just didn't happen. It's not like these devotees that you're talking about don't see the issues that are coming, in a sense. By the way, they probably don't see a lot of the things that we do, because at least me, But the urgency doesn't overtake them to do it in a way that decreases enthusiasm. Instead, they're experts at cultivating a process where they turn to Krishna and say, Krishna, how best can I serve this devotee? How can I increase their enthusiasm? And so then you'll see the correction in an amazing way. For instance, I heard, I was in India recently, and Hanumat Swami gave, at the beginning of class, he starts talking about kirtan. He starts talking about how Srila Prabhupada asked that we do 20 minutes of kirtan. It's Hare Krishna, but there's one other mantra that Srila Prabhupada explains in his books. It's the Hriya Raya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhu Sudan. But Srila Prabhupada encouraged us in so many ways not to sing so many other mantras. We stick with Hare Krishna and stuff like that. And amongst other things, he said, by the way, I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm giving an example about how a devotee corrects without criticizing. And he just put it in a clip, and like he brought up the purports and stuff. He's like, so then I realized, I was like, oh, okay, I can see that devotees were doing kirtan for the last 3 or 4 days while I was at this temple in these ways. And so he never went to somebody and stopped them. In the appropriate place, he brought up soberly ways that we could do kirtan in a way that pleases Srila Prabhupada. Never condemning, just saying, hey, this is a possibility. So I would make that emphasis, that the devotee is, as an ever well-wisher, is desiring for the correction of the devotee for service. And so criticism doesn't correct. It's not necessary. Criticism means there's malintent with it, and so we can correct, though, in a proper way. I would encourage that. Yeah? What do you think? We can be expert correctors, but then the urgency of the mind, when is it not our job to correct? Instead, we see a situation that somebody's doing, and we say, it's not in my duty to correct this person, but you know what? Because I noticed that, let me make sure that I do it better when I do it. You know what I mean? Like if you see somebody doing a service and they're becoming a little bit content, and it's not your job to correct them, you can take that as a lesson for yourself. Oh, let me be more, let me do my service when I do that thing a little better. And then it becomes a great boon, actually. That devotee helped me in my service. Hare Krishna. Yes, Govind. Nice haircut. Got a haircut. I think this is the last question.
Just asking, since it's said in the purport of the 37th verse that all Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya, what they do, but it didn't tell about Shudra.
Yeah.
What do the Shudras do?
They do practical work under the direction of these three varnas. Yeah. So they do trades work that helps and serves the community, right? And usually that's done without education in a sense of a public education, like in the way in this way, they were taught by their parents or their father, or they did trades work. A big thing in school is instead of going to college, you can just go to trade school and you can learn how to become a electrician, you know? So instead of going through high school and this and that, you know, they would just start at a young age going right to electrician trade school. Like, okay, I know how to do my service. So, yeah. Anything else?
So what does a Kanishta Adhikari mean? Like,
Kanishta means the beginning devotee. And then Madhyam's the middle level devotee, and Uttama is the top level. So the Srila Rupa Goswami and the explains, and our acharyas explains there's these three different levels of devotees. And so when we first come in, we become a Kanishta, meaning that we're at the beginning of our devotional service. And then we should mature. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying in that person. We shouldn't just stay at the bottom level. We should mature ourselves. And one of the great ways to mature is to see how are we interacting with devotees. If we're continually to quarrel with devotees that don't end up in upliftment and encouragement to Krishna, instead it's actually hurting people's devotional service, then stamp. You put Kanishta stamp right on your forehead and say you need to work on that. Because you can quarrel with devotees and still do it in a way that uplifts people. And that's how a Madhyam will deal with something. They'll go, oh, okay, there's a situation here, he or she, you know, will deal with the situation, but like, okay, how can I go through this where I'm encouraging devotional service, not destroying enthusiasm? Yeah? Okay? Okay. So, today we'll go through with our duties. We've done a great duty in listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, which is cleansing the heart. Now we have to go to our work, right? In this material world, everyone must work. And so you will have flarings of demonic natures coming in. And so continue your work and really just take shelter of the holy name. It's doing the work of purification. Krishna kills the demons. We don't kill the demons. We just continue our work in the right attitude. Okay? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Adikoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.